CBS News has learned one of the investigations into former President Trump and his company is bringing evidence to a new grand jury. The Washington Post was the first to report the new development, which could possibly lead to criminal charges. A source told CBS News it appears the panel was convened recently and is handling multiple cases, in addition to the one involving the former president and his organization. Mr. Trump called the seating of a grand jury, quote, purely political and an affront to the almost 75 million voters who supported me in the presidential election, and it's being driven by highly partisan Democrat prosecutors. For more on this, I want to bring in Rebecca Roiphe. She's a CBS News legal contributor and former Manhattan prosecutor. Hi, Rebecca. Great to see you. So how significant is this news of prosecutors convening a grand jury?
I think it's quite significant for three reasons. First of all, it shows that the investigation has reached a pretty advanced stage. So it's gone beyond just sort of sending subpoenas out and getting documents, and then moved on to a stage in which, at least from public reporting, it seems as if the prosecutors are presenting this evidence to a grand jury, to what's called a special grand jury. And that's significant because usually, like in the vast majority of cases, prosecutors don't get to that stage unless they're pretty convinced that they have a criminal case. Now, of course, we don't know exactly who they have a criminal case against. It could be an entity, it could be any number of individuals, but I think we can be pretty sure that they are convinced that they have a pretty good criminal case against someone. Second of all, I think that shows that they're using a special grand jury that's going to last 6 months, that this is a fairly complicated case. It's not an easy case. They have to get a lot of information, and they need a jury that will last longer than the typical 1 month long jury. And finally, it gives us a time frame. So when people have been asking, when is this investigation going to wrap up? I don't know about other commentators, but I kind of throw up my arms like, I don't know. I have no idea. But now there's definitely information, and it's not for sure, but it seems like the outer date is sometime around November, 6 months from now. Of course, the prosecutors could renew the grand jury, but that's also pretty unlikely, because if you were a grand juror sitting for 3 days for 6 months, you probably don't want to stay any longer than that.
Now, Rebecca, the former president called it a, quote, continuation of the greatest witch hunt in American history. But should he be worried? If you were his counsel, what would you be recommending he do at this point?
Well, he's always been waging both a war inside the courtroom and a public relations war. So in terms of the public relations war, that always works really well for him. In terms of the legal battles, it doesn't so well. And, I would be thinking very long and hard about what evidence they might have, thinking about that and building a defense. Because when it comes down to defending yourself, if there is an indictment in a courtroom, screaming about political motivation isn't going to work quite as well as it does, with certain elements of the public.
And so now that the grand jury has been impaneled, what can we expect to see immediately? What are the next steps?
Well, we can expect to see almost nothing because the grand jury is secret. And so that can be frustrating, but it's really important for our freedoms that the grand jury conduct its work in private. So it's entirely possible that we don't hear anything for quite some time, again, because it is this long 6-month period. But if we were to speculate about what's happening, I think there are a lot of witnesses who are being called in and asked to give their testimony. There are documents being admitted into testimony, and all of that ultimately gives a kind of factual record such that at the end of it, if the prosecutors do want to bring criminal charges, they can rely on that evidence, and they have to prove their case. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt like a regular jury. It's only probable cause. Now, I would hope that ethically the prosecutors are more convinced that they have more evidence than that. But, as a matter, it's not that hard to get an indictment for that reason, because one, it's only a probable cause standard, and there's no defense attorney in the room. It's only the prosecutor, no judge. And also, you don't need a unanimous jury here. So that's significant also. If you have a couple of holdouts who are maybe buying into the president's rhetoric here, it won't matter, because you really only need a majority of those jurors. You don't need that, unanimous jury that you would at the trial phase.
And then what happens if the grand jury does issue an indictment?
So and then again, there are a number of things that can happen. So it can indict any individual, it can indict any one of the president's organizations, and once it does that, then the prosecution commences, and you might see their negotiations for a potential settlement, and you might see some individuals cooperating against other individuals. There's been a lot of speculation that maybe, some of these people might turn on others, and others might turn on, somebody else, and prosecutors can put pressure on a particular witness by saying, look, we have this indictment against you, and if you cooperate, things will go better for you than if you don't. So all of those things could happen, and the government could simply proceed against any of these individuals. Ultimately, it could end up in a trial or in a negotiated settlement.
All right, Rebecca Roiphe, thank you so much for your legal insight and getting us up to speed. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Tanya.